Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while. I'm glad to be back, and today I'm going to be doing the 20 questions book tag, starting with question 1. And question 1 is, how many books is too many books in a book series? I personally think the perfect amount of books in a book series would probably be 3 or 4. But if I'm really interested in the book series and the story, it could go on and there could be more books than that and I would still enjoy it just as much. So I personally think it just depends on the book series and the story itself. Question number 2 is, how do you feel about cliffhangers? I don't mind cliffhangers. But what I don't like is when the author waits a while to publish the next book after leaving us on a massive cliffhanger. As long as they don't do that, I'm okay with a cliffhanger or two. I think it keeps you wanting to read more. Question number 3 is, hardcover or paperback? I personally prefer paperback books, simply for the fact that I don't like dealing with the dust jackets on the hardcover books, and typically hardcover books cost more, so there's that too. And now on to question 5, least favorite book. My least favorite book would be Bunny by Mona Awad. I didn't like this book personally because I found it a little strange, and sometimes I feel like the writing and plot was a little confusing to follow. But I guess if you like books that are a little bit spooky, and are just looking for a read that, I believe it was fairly fast. I mean, I listened to the audiobook personally, but it was a pretty average length audiobook, so that was nice. And I will say the main character was kind of interesting, so I'll give the book that. And now for question 6, love triangles. Yes or no? Again, I think it depends on the book, but overall, I do like love triangles. I've read plenty of books where I've enjoyed, that trope. But lately, I think I'd rather have a book with why choose romance. And now for question number 7, the most recent book you couldn't finish. For this, I'm going to pick A Merry Little Meet Cute. So, I started reading this book before the beginning of the year, actually around Christmas time, and just recently finished it. It was just really hard to get through. There were some points where I enjoyed it, I guess, but overall, definitely not my favorite, and I did think I would DNF it, but I managed to get through the book. It was alright. I'd probably give it like 2 stars. Okay, question number 8, a book you're currently reading. I'm reading The Frame Up, actually on my Kindle. So far, I'm enjoying it. I wasn't sure if I'd like it because it has to do with like a girl working like with a company that sells comic books. I'm not really into comic books, but it's a fun read and there's a little bit of a mystery in there. So it's been a pretty good book so far. And number 9, last book you've recommended to someone, definitely the A Court of Thorns and Roses series. I would recommend that to anyone. Oldest book you've read? It's been a while. But I think the oldest book I've read, and this is back when I was in school, so it was like reading for school, but probably To Kill a Mockingbird, maybe. And number 11, newest book you've read, the third book in the Crescent City series. It's probably the newest book I've read. Number 12 would be favorite author. And I would say still to this day, Sarah J. Maas. She just seems like a really nice person. I've watched a couple of podcasts where they've had her on, and she seems really cool and relatable. Number 13, buying or borrowing books. Most of the time, I would say borrowing books is what I would prefer. But sometimes you don't always have somebody who has the book you want to borrow. Or like if you really liked a book, you'll want to keep it for yourself. So in that case, I would say actually probably buying books. Number 14, a book you dislike but everybody seems to love. For this, I'd probably say Six of Crows or Cruel Prince. I tried listening to the Cruel Prince on audiobook, just couldn't get into it. Might go back to it just to see what the hype is about, but I really didn't like the writing style. And Six of Crows, I haven't really tried to read it yet, but from what I've heard, it just doesn't sound like it'd be a book I'm interested in, but I might be wrong. Number 15, bookmark or dog ears. I would say probably I use bookmark. I use a bookmark most of the time, but in a pinch, I think dog ears work. Number 16, a book you can always reread. Recently, I read a book called The New Witch on the Block, and I believe it's a part of a series. It was really good, and I think if I had to pick a book that I could reread multiple times, it would be New Witch on the Block. Number 17, can you read while hearing or listening to music? I've tried, but I don't really like listening to music while I read. Number 18, one POV or multiple POVs. I like both, honestly, but I think multiple POVs is harder to pull off, and it can get confusing if you don't know what you're doing when writing multiple POV. So in general, I would choose one POV as far as reading. I feel like it's just a better experience, but if the book is good, I do like multiple POVs if the author is able to do it right. Number 19, do you read in one setting or multiple days? It depends on the book and the length of the book, but most of the time I read in multiple days. Number 20, who do you tag? I tag anybody who wants to do this book tag. Have fun with it, and thanks for watching.